You wanted some home cooking? You're gonna get some home cooking. Hey-o, buttermilk, ranch seasoning, buttermilk, seasoning, salt, little onion powder, little garlic powder. Put down some flour, just a little cornstarch. I like to add some baking powder to make the crust really fluff up and get a nice big heavy crust. Then we add some onion powder, some garlic powder, black pepper, the seasoning salt, and just a little bit of the Colonel's herbs and spices. I'm gonna add my cube steak into the buttermilk to let that kind of rest in there for a little bit before I start getting it, putting the flour and getting it put in, cooking and all that other stuff. I'm going to make some fresh lemonade, so we're going to have to start chopping some lemons. Now that we have all the lemons chopped, I'm going to have to start going and squeezing them into the pitcher. Squeezing the last lemon and leaving a couple up there for garnish. Now I'm just going to add a little cold water. Can't have that direct before we put some sugar in. I'm just going to get it with some stevia because we're diabetic and we don't use sugar. Now that's going to get the old mixing going on. And then we'll put it in the refrigerator while we finish cooking everything else. My wife likes strawberry lemonade, I don't. We grow our own strawberries. So we have some ones that are really small, but they're very flavorful, very sweet, little strawberries. So I picked a few off her plant, just fresh for my wife, and chopped them up for her glass of lemonade. I then peeled and I cubed some potatoes and I get them ready for boiling. One of the things I don't like about boiling is you can do one of two things with boiling. Either you can greatly remove the flavor of your food. The water just takes it out, and then when you dump that water out, there goes all your flavor. Or you can add flavor to the water and then you add flavor to the food. So it's one of two ways. So I like to add a little bit of salt when I boil my potatoes. And then my other little thing is I like to add a little bit of bouillon, chicken bouillon, when I boil my potatoes from my mashed potatoes. It gives it an extra little bit of flavor, so I'm not taking away the flavor. I'm adding in a layer of flavor in the boiling process before I go to mash my potatoes and add other stuff. Oops, I almost forgot. I like to add a little bit of garlic powder too. Now that I have the potatoes on, I'm going to start adding the oil to my skillet in preparation to start cooking up the chicken fried steaks. Now I'll chop up some onions and then some mushrooms so I can make my mushrooms and onions. Since my onions and mushrooms are now chopped, I'll go ahead and I'll move on and start preparing the chicken fried steaks to get them battered up and ready for the oil. Okay, now I'll take the meat out and put it on my plate so that I can introduce into the buttermilk an egg so it'll coat a little better when I do my breading process. Now I'll just blend in my egg into my buttermilk to get my coating to stick better. Now I'm going to double bread this. I'm first going to get this in the now egg mixed buttermilk to get it nice and wet. Then I'm going to put this in the seasoned flour we made earlier and make sure that that's got a good stuck coating to it. Make sure it really sticks to it really good. We really want a thick coating. You can push it in the first batch before you double dip it. You'll get a really good coating. And then we come back in here. We're going to wet it again, and we're going to put it back in one more time. Give it a really good thick coating stuck to it. And get that to build up, and with all the baking powder and stuff in it, as soon as that heat hits it, that's going to crisp up and make a really nice thick crisp coating, really nice and flavored with our seasoning and stuff. And that's gonna make a really, really good chicken fried steak. I'll get the other one done real quick, and then it'll be time to fry. I'm gonna introduce the chicken fried steaks into the skillet. And then when you see the nice golden brown developing on the first side, that's gonna be when it's time to go ahead and flip that around for you. When done, I put them on a paper towel to drain, get some of the excess oil off, and then I go ahead and we'll start preparing the skillet, getting some of that grease out of there to add my sausage and start making gravy. When we start chopping up the sausage and getting it all cooked up, and get ready to start making the gravy. Next, you add your flour, start getting it cooked in there, and then shortly after, you'll start adding your spices and your milk. Or add my milk, and I like to add a little bit of condensed milk, and in my gravy, I don't tell you what spices I put in. It's my secret. Then I'll add a little bit of buttermilk, not too much. It'll make it really sour really fast. And then I'll add in some regular milk and water to thin it out the rest of the way. In another skillet, I'll throw down a little bit of sweet cream butter. Start cooking that down. And once it's melted in, I'll start adding my onions and my mushrooms. Okay, now we'll start adding our stuff together, and I'll start making my onion and mushrooms. Okay, now the gravy is been getting stirred and cooking up for a little while, and now I'll drop the heat and let it thicken up. And now that my potatoes are boiled, I will go ahead and I'll put them in the colander to drop the excess water, and I'll put them back in, and I'll start making my mashed potatoes. Okay, I'll add a stick of butter, a can of evaporated milk. Okay, now that my onions and mushrooms are starting to cook down, I'm going to put a little bit of Worcestershire sauce in them, and then I'll go ahead and I'll hit them with a little bit of seasoning salt. And okay, I'll start getting these mashed, and then I'll transfer them over to the stove here in a bit. As soon as I get my mushrooms and onions off, to finish them off over the stove and add a few other ingredients. Okay, I checked the salt level on my potatoes, and they're good. They don't need any more salt, so I'm just going to add a little bit of pepper to my mashed potatoes, and they'll be good. And that's everything after it's all done. Oh,